So I went to the pub last night, and a couple of my friends who had seen my Instagram post of me with the Series X, sort of cradling it like a baby, and they asked what I thought of it so far, what my sort of first impressions were. Now the problem is, there aren't any next-gen games that I can actually play right now to test it. I mean, this doesn't even come out until November 10th, so I couldn't really give my friends a good answer. And actually, we all kind of agreed that the launch lineup isn't that exciting. Yes, we've got Cyberpunk and Black Ops and Watch Dogs coming out soon, but there's few great exclusive next-gen games. Plus, they're all getting more expensive. We're looking at £70 each. So at this point, they were starting to reconsider whether they should even keep their pre-orders for the Series X. That is until I mentioned backwards compatibility. And actually, it changes the whole conversation about whether you should buy one. Think of it like upgrading your PC with a new processor, new graphics card, new super fast storage. The first thing you'll do is jump into your favorite game and then see how much faster it is. And that's the case with the Series X, and probably the Series S to a slightly lesser extent, but it's not just about buying expensive next-gen games. It's how this will give you the best experience possible playing all your current games. The 12 teraflops, the super fast PCIe 4 SSD, and new features like Quick Resume all make such a difference. To be clear though, this is not a review, it's barely even a preview, and almost dropped it there, and it is running on non-final software. So this is just my experience so far playing a few games on the Xbox Game Pass library to see what it does to them in terms of, well, improving the experience. Now firstly, credit to Digital Foundry as they produced a fantastic video showing the real-time frame rate difference between games running on the new Series X and the current Xbox One X. And you can see as they play games like Hitman, FF15, Tomb Raider, where the current One X frequently sees pretty heavy dips in frame rate, the Series X just breezes through, giving a solid 60 across the board. I mean, to go from a 38 FPS average in Hitman with the 4K quality setting to maxing out the 60 FPS cap is a big deal. And remember, these aren't games that have been remastered or had any real work put into them for the Series X. Let me give you another example. I fired up a bit of No Man's Sky and started a new game on both the One X and the Series X. And if I put them side by side, while I don't have the fancy Digital Foundry tech to measure the frame rate directly on the consoles, you can just see how the older One X on the left has slowdowns and frame rate dips versus the buttery smooth Series X on the right. Now of course this does vary between games, some see bigger boosts than others, and unlike upgrading your PC, you can't then suddenly enable a whole bunch of better graphics settings. But the higher, more consistent frame rate can make a big difference. But that's only half the story, because one of the biggest upgrades with these next-gen consoles is they've ditched the slow old 5400 RPM hard drives in favor of super fast PCIe 4 SSD storage, which makes a world of difference to load times. If we jump back into No Man's Sky and that long initial load screen for new games, you can see we've got the little timers at the bottom there for each console, and it takes the Series X 37 seconds to load. If we then skip ahead, the One X takes a full minute longer at 1 minute 37. That's a 61% faster load time. Now let's have a look at Red Dead Redemption 2, and starting from the main menu and loading my saved game, I'm used to this taking forever normally, and yet the Series X finishes in 36 seconds, compared to 1 minute 39. So a similar boost to No Man's Sky, it's 63% faster. And actually, it's not just those big initial loads either. I got myself killed and it took 31 seconds to respawn on the One X, versus just 21 seconds on the Series X. Metro Exodus is another great example, and the One X takes about 1 billion years to load. Well, 2 minutes 33, but it feels like forever. Whereas the Series X I have here sat next to it loads in just 39 seconds. That's nearly 2 minutes shaved off. I can do a lot of things in 2 minutes. That's what she said. To avoid boring you all to death looking at load screens all day, this is a roundup of my results. So not only are we getting higher and smoother frame rates, but it's a night and day difference when it comes to load times. I do keep holding this like a baby, I don't mean to, it's just how I hold it. Anyway, there's one more party trick for the Series X, and that's Quick Resume. And this lets you jump between up to 12 games that have been cached in the background. So rather than having to fully load up a game every time you want to play something else, you can switch between them and it takes a fraction of the time. In fact, going from No Man's Sky to Metro Exodus takes just 15 seconds, and there's no slowdown or anything, I'm right back in the action. Then if I switch to Final Fantasy 15, it takes a little bit longer, so it does vary between games, but at 19 seconds, it's barely time to put the kettle on. And then maybe if I jump back into Red Dead, just 15 seconds later and I'm ready to go. Now, you do of course have to be careful with multiplayer games. You'll get kicked out of the server if you're out of the game for too long. But if you're sharing a console with someone and you're both playing something different, being able to just quick resume into what you've been playing is really useful. Now, you may be able to have up to 12 games of quick resume, but if they're, big AAA games, then you're probably going to want, one of these guys. This is the Seagate expansion slot, which gives you an extra terabyte of storage, because out of the box, you have about 800 gigs to play with on this. So I think pretty quickly, you'll want to invest in one of these, which of course does add a couple of £100 extra, but I think, long term, it's pretty nifty that we do have that option. I honestly didn't think I'd be able to make a whole video just about backwards compatibility and what it's like playing current games on the Series X. But just seeing what a difference it makes to the frame rate, to the load times, and also having quick resume, as I say, going back to my conversation with my friends, even if there aren't any super exciting next-gen games that you want to spend £70 on, just how much this improves your current gameplay experience, as I say, I think is probably worth it by itself. But this is not a review, it's not a preview even, it's just my experience so far of backwards compatibility with Xbox Game Pass library of games. So obviously this is pre-release software, things may change, things may even get better, and I can't wait to test this on some other non-Xbox Game Pass games, and of course also give you guys my full review. So what do you make of the Series X so far and all this backwards compatibility? Let me know in the comments below, and also what next-gen game you're most excited to see. And if you guys did enjoy this video and want to see more from me and more of this guy, probably more likely, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. It means the world to me when you guys subscribe and we build this community. I'm nearly at 1 million subscribers, so anything you can do, share, comment, subscribe, it would be amazing. So thank you very much, and I hopefully will see you next time right here on the Tech Chat.